Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. A big warm welcome to wherever you are in the world. This is USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is The Power of Etiquette and Manners. We're going to be discussing bringing etiquette into the workplace. There's been some information that's been written about how companies are looking at etiquette and manners and why it's so important to have that as part of the corporate culture. Joining me is the star of our show and the expert in this area, Mr. Philip SYKES. He is the principal and founder of the British School of Excellence. Let's welcome him to the program. Hello.
Hello, and it's Friday.
Yes, it is Friday. It's so nice to see you. I feel like it's been forever.
It has, Dr. JACALYN. It has. A week goes by and it's forever.
It's so true. Well, you've got a lot of things going on there. It's quite exciting. And of course, as you know, we've expanded our platform. We're now also on Roku worldwide and Amazon Fire. So we want to say hello to everyone there and also to our friends on Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn and Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. A big warm welcome to new viewers as well.
Woo! We love it. So, Philip, for those people who are joining us, it might be the very first time. I would love if you would share a little bit about the work that you do and the value that you bring from the British School of Excellence.
Thank you, Dr. JACALYN. As an organization, www.thebritishschoolofexcellence.com, there is our logo, and that is one of our sayings that we advocate by Maya Angelou. We at the organization, we focus on giving you the quintessential tools to build confidence and to change your life, no matter what age you are. As an organization, we are passionate about building that confidence and giving you that leg up, that foot up, that putting your best foot forward. And we focus from Etiquette, which is our children's program, into teenagers, into adults, and we have a plethora of incredible programs for everybody, whether it be in the luxury retail space, whether it be in the education space, whether it be in business, whether it be for personal growth, personal use. We run a Train the Trainer program for anyone out there who's interested in elevating A, themselves to the next level, but B, to go into the sector and industry that we are so passionate about. And we will hold your hand every step of the way. So as an organization, please do take time to go onto the website. We have WhatsApp telephone numbers on there. You can contact us directly. We love that human-to-human contact and connection. Looking forward at some point to no doubt engaging with you wherever you are in the world.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Philip. And for those who are watching us, our viewers, you can take out your device, your mobile device, your phone, your tablet, and go ahead and scan the QR code to contact Philip and his organization. So, Philip, what I'd love for us to talk about is, as you know, when the pandemic came, we were working from home in many cases. I still work from home, but get dressed up. But many people were working from home and sort of adopted some new lifestyle behaviors. And then when called back to the office, didn't want to let go of those lifestyle change behaviors. And employers, I think, are starting to crack down. So when it comes to actually changing from one way of living or behaving to another, that can be very traumatic for people.
Completely traumatic, and it really is something that, as an organization, we really do give people those tools to sort of reignite themselves, to reestablish themselves. And let's face it, we're human beings, and we suffer from dramatic changes. We find it hard to adapt, and a lot of us structure habits, good and bad, in our lives. And this is something, I suppose the upside of this is that we can learn to create good habits in our lives, and habits take a long time to develop and hone. It's not that 21 days that people think it might be. It's from what we've learned in research and from the various different universities such as Princeton, Harvard, it's 63 days to adopt and develop and build a good habit. So it is that adaptability, bearing in mind, and I know one hates to talk about the pandemic, but that was a long period. And so people got into bad habits, or they just got into the rhythm and the drumbeat of what was thrown at them. And there was no need, or that feeling, there was no need to make an effort. And here at the organization, the British School of Excellence, we talk about building consistency into our lives and be the person that you would like to meet, and understand that you are your own brand. So it is fundamental that we are adaptable and we are open to change, because if we're not open to change, we're going to stay stagnant.
That is so true. Absolutely. And of course, I brought up initially about the pandemic, but it's not just confined to the pandemic. I think when you get out of doing certain things, you lose focus and attention to detail. But something that really surprised me from the article you shared with me is that in many cases, people are not looking at someone directly. They're avoiding any kind of eye contact. And I know you shared in other cultures that you don't look someone directly in the eye, but in some cases people they're looking at their phone instead of even looking at the person. What do you think this is a symptom of? Fear?
Missing out. It's a symptom of distraction. It's a symptom of, I don't need to connect and engage with this person, and I don't have to have that feeling of feeling awkward. I think it's a plethora of things again. And Dr. JACALYN, this is something I have always maintained. You know, if we thought that the pandemic, as in COVID and all that, was a pandemic, we've got a bigger challenge on our hands, and that is the digital space. We've got to really understand how detrimental and how dangerous this influence is that our children, that we, as whatever age, we are subject to. It is actually frightening. And it's all about manipulation, and it's all about getting into our psyche. And it gets into our psyche very, very quickly.
It's very true. And I've noticed also, I teach fitness classes as well as running this platform. And I've noticed that some of the people in the class, in spinning classes, are actually talking on the phone and using their phone during class. And I have no judgment, but The 60, soon to be 61-year-old me kind of felt like that was disrespectful. And I thought maybe I'm out of touch with things. Maybe there are no rules when it comes to someone leading a class and people following along. I don't know. What do you think?
I just think people have created a very bad habit, quite frankly. Literally, it's. I hear people daily saying, "I've got to spend less time on my phone." Well, that's a choice. That's a choice. Now, we all need our phones to do work, absolutely. But I can honestly put my hand on my heart and say, I don't spend more than, if I spend 15 minutes on social media a day, that is a lot. I will wish friends happy birthday. I might look at some professional posts. I use my phone for WhatsApp. Like you and I communicate, and I connect with family around the world, absolutely. But I'm not constantly on my phone. Having said that, as you know, Dr. Jacqueline, you know, you've met my son digitally, Harley. He'll say, "Dad, you're always on your phone," and he sees that because I'm working, you know, especially on holidays. But on the weekends, I really try to disconnect. I get, you know, to a point where I put the phone down and I'm not really interested. And funny enough, we were recently very fortunate. We produced the show when I was in Africa a few weeks ago, and we had our wonderful trainer students on. And that weekend, I must have gone on my phone maybe 4 times, and it was such a breath of fresh air. It is such an amazing detox. And I'm going to challenge anybody out there, just get off your phone. Get off your phone for 5, 6, 7 hours. Go for a walk. Go and spend time with friends. Go and talk. Go and sleep. Do whatever you can, but move away from this digital influence.
That's such a great point. You know, I found I was really attached to my phone so much that when I was going to sleep at night, I would be checking the phone during the night. And I'm thinking, what could possibly be that important? I mean, you know, my mom passed away, so I'm not checking on her. And so what is it that I said I'm not doing it anymore. And that took an effort because I was so used to doing it.
Absolutely, it's habitual. So when when we are demonstrating this sort of scenario about phones, if you pop over to my home and I say, "Fancy a cuppa?" and you say, "Love a cup of tea," so I'm off to the kitchen and I'm going to boil the kettle, but my phone's on the sideboard, and I have a look at, oh, no one's contacted me. I boil the kettle. I'm walking back toward you, check my phone. Hello, we chat for a bit. Can I get you a biscuit with your tea? I go back, the kettle's boiled, check my, and this has become innate in so many people. And it's actually really, really scary. It's like this draw. It's like, what are we missing out on? I need this feeling of feeling important or needed. And this is what's so frightening.
Absolutely. And you know, Philip, you and I are both coaches, and our goal is to treat people with respect and give them tools that they need to do whatever it is they need to do. And what I find interesting when you think about the workplace, and I'd love you to comment on this. I was reading the article that you sent over about workplaces being filled with people who are hostile, was the word that they used. Hostile, angry, agitated, aggravated. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And then that permeates through the business because the employees are brand ambassadors. And I'm wondering if that could be tied in some way to the technology, because if you're always looking on social media and seeing what this one and that one's doing, first of all, it's hard on your eyes. It's draining mentally because you're constantly looking at something, but it might just go through to your soul in terms of your self-esteem and your confidence, and then you bring that into the workplace.
Again, that is absolutely on the button. And I'm not a gamer. I'd rather watch paint dry on the wall than go and play digital games. I really would. That's just me. But gaming has become a multi-trillion, billion-dollar business, and lots of people are addicted to it. And a lot of these games, such as I've heard Fortnite, very violent, lots of swearing. I don't know. I'm just relaying what I've heard. You being influenced, right? It's guns, and it's blowing people up, and it's working on our mindsets. And also with the digital age that we're in, everything's instant. I want something, I'll get it instantly. It'll literally, I can put an order in today, maybe by 10 o'clock tonight, that item might pop through my front door, at the front door. It is something that we as human beings, we've lost this ability to be tolerant with one another. We really, and I know I'm generalizing. Some people are incredibly tolerant, but I'm just generally generalizing in this respect. And we as human beings are at a very serious juncture in our lives as human beings, or at this year, 2024, this decade that we're in now. We've got a lot to answer to. And funny enough, I read such a wonderful little article this morning about growing up or being born in the 60s and 70s. And you think about how quickly life's moved so fast into 2024. But what we in our age group, and I know you and I a few years apart, Dr. JACALYN, what we experienced and it's almost like we've almost turbocharged the decades in the advancement that we are facing in this world right now. So in the fourth industrial revolution, we definitely have a lot to take on board. We definitely have got more to absorb. But at the same time, what this has done, it's drawn our so-called human connect away from connecting H to H, human to human, and it's drawn us into this whole new artificial digital world space, which absorbs us. It is because we can escape. We can escape. And don't forget, our brains sometimes don't know how to decipher what's real and not real. That is the scary thing. So it's very much when you're watching a movie and we get all engrossed in a drama and it's a very sad scene, we start to feel that emotion. We start to feel like we're living it. And this is where we as an organization have really done a huge amount of research in being able to give people the tools and the skill set on how to adapt to being more consistent in who they are and how they're showing up every single day.
Absolutely. And Philip, without giving any specifics, I actually had an experience recently where someone wanted to give me feedback in an office. I'm using office environment. And the person was very angry. And when I think about Toastmasters, I'm not a Toastmaster, but Toastmaster, the sandwich approach where you give something positive, then you give the feedback and then something positive. Well, the person just started belittling me. I mean, they just went off on a tangent and kept coming close. I was like backed into a corner. And the first thing that popped into my mind was about etiquette and about the way that a message is delivered. And I think sometimes people forget about that we get emotionally charged about something and then we don't frame it up in a way that the other person can receive the information and process it. So if I just start screaming at you, then whatever it is I'm screaming about, you might not even be able to process it because you're so much, why is she attacking me this way? And yet this type of thing happens on a regular basis.
It does. It does. And I cannot emphasize enough, when people look at this word etiquette and manners, right? They think, oh, it's for posh people, or I wasn't born into that. Well, hold the phone here. Etiquette and manners, emotional intelligence is for the world over. It's for every single person. And when you understand the depth of this, it is huge, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you listening out there, it is massive at the extent of what etiquette and manners can do for you as an individual and for people around you. And you can show up in whatever way you want to show up. But when you show up positively with good etiquette and manners, it starts to rub off on people. And in that article that Dr. JACALYN referred to, it actually does stipulate and actually says that so far the poll has found that 2/3 of companies that have already put on etiquette classes say they've seen a high positive impact. It's been hugely, hugely successful. And so when you dig deep into that, it's actually a mindset. So it's all about getting into someone's mindset and understanding and giving them the benefits, not just teaching, oh, you've got to behave this way and this way. Not at all. It's not about that. And this is something we take very seriously at our organization, in the sense of we're not an organization of where you get a list of do's and don'ts. We talk about those quintessential tools. They're not skills or tips or tricks. They are genuine. Sorry, I'm going to contradict myself. These are skills and tools. They're not tips or tricks on any level. And going back to what you were just sharing, Dr. JACALYN, that person tearing a strip off you, they're the one with the issue. They're the one that might have had a hangover from a bad experience or whatever it might be. And in those sort of situations, the power of etiquette and manners can tell that person to disappear and make them look forward to the journey. That's how powerful etiquette and manners are.
It's so true, Philip. And, I'd love to hear from you when someone does attack you in that way, how do you show up? What do you do? And so I did not engage. I just took the information, the feedback, and I thought, wow, this person must have had a bad night or something. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
But is that the proper way?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Or you turn around and say you have a very strong opinion. I'd be really pleased to know where this is coming from. So you don't challenge them. You just say, I like your passion. You have a very strong opinion, or you really are very sort of focused on what you're sharing with me. Please open up, elaborate. Why do you feel that way? Give them the benefit of the doubt. So you're not saying, don't talk to me like that. Say, wow, you're very passionate about the way you're speaking toward me. What is it that's troubling you? And so flip it, turn it. That is one amazing way to put them back in their cage. I'm telling you right now. And the other thing is, in certain situations, you can just turn around and say, you're obviously not in the right space right now. I wouldn't say in the right frame of mind. You're obviously not in the right space right now. I will connect with you when the timing is right. And then just walk away. Walk away. Use your 6-second rule, Dr. JACALYN. We've talked about this. If people go back to all the shows, and Dr. JACALYN and I have been producing, this show has been produced over the last 2 years. We talk about that 6-second rule. It changes your life. Maybe you need to walk away and walk for 20, 30 minutes. Maybe you need to sleep on something. But understand the power of pausing before you react. Because let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you will always, 9 times out of 10, trip yourself up if you react instantly.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think the other thing is, if you ever have been in an engagement like that where one person is really passionate, I'm using that word, about what they're saying, and you don't engage with them, at some point they realize that you're sort of like a brick wall, or you've walked away. And typically people feel foolish. They feel like, wow, I really lost control of my emotions. And I know myself, if I lose control of my emotions, I don't feel good about myself, because it's not a strength. It's actually I'm going to say, an opportunity, not a weakness.
Oh, most definitely. And that's where, Dr. JACALYN, that's where your situational awareness, that's where your self-awareness kicks in. And that really is the ability, to notice what you're feeling and thinking at that moment, and why. When we start to feel that let's use that term anger, right? Or even sad, or you're a bit frustrated, we need to learn to take a moment to try and put those feelings into words so that we can act rather than react. And then kicks in, that's using your 6-second rule, and then kicks in your self-control, because that self-control is all about thinking before you actually act. And this is all happening very, very fast, by the way. And it puts those few precious seconds or even minutes between feeling a hugely strong emotion and taking an action that we might regret, if we think about that. And together, when we've got that self-awareness and what we might lean on is called self-control, it really does allow us to have more choice about how we act. And especially when you're feeling that moment of irritation or that emotion of anger or sadness, it really does give us that ability to, even if you look at a pressure cooker, just to maybe let without the roof blowing off.
Absolutely. Well, all these things we're talking about today, I think, are really great foundational reasons for organizations to have yourself, your team, come in and teach some etiquette classes.
Sorry, I lost you just for a second there. One more time.
I said, I think all of these things we've mentioned are foundational for businesses to hire yourself to come in to teach etiquette classes.
Absolutely. And it is so deep, this opportunity. It is, and it's such a, I want to break this down, because any organization who understands the power and I use that word power, and that's the name of this beautiful series, the power of, it's like wearing a superhero cloak. Organizations need to wake up, whether it be Deloitte, whether it be KPMG, whether it be any of the big organizations down to the smallest organization. Where is your biggest value? And that is in the people you employ. If you can equip them with these quintessential tools, equip them with that cloak, that superpower cloak, where do you think your business is going to go? what do you think the ethos, what do you think the energy inside that business is going to be like? It's not rocket science. That's a very straightforward answer to that question. It'll be phenomenal. And that's where you build, and that's you build from the bottom up, and you bring people in, not for their wow academia. Yes, we need wow academics, absolutely. But you bring people in that are going to support you. They're going to get on with one another. They're going to make an effort to step up, and they're going to build rapport with your clients. And that for me is fundamental. And that's what we coach and guide people on. This is exactly how we can upskill and up-level people to the next level.
Absolutely. And again, referring to that article that you sent, it was really informative, is that what might come to mind is that the younger generations are the ones who need to learn the etiquette and manners, but it's not true. It's all generations, because we've been working from home and not interacting with people as we would if we were in an office. And I think one of the most important things, and you and I talk about this all the time, is listening. That's a skill set that I just held the Power of Listening course the other day, and people were coming forward and sharing that people are not listening to them, or they've been told they're not a good listener. And so it impacts everyone. And so I know that you include that in the coursework that you have. Tell us some of the other things that business owners can expect to learn by bringing you and your team in to teach their employees.
That's a great question and a great example. Dr. JACALYN, listening, one of the things we teach in the power and importance of networking. So, for example, how do we make conversation? People, as simple as small talk, for example, and you say to people, do you like small talk, or are you interested in small talk? Some people can't stand it. Other people say, oh, we love small talk, but they're not listening. So, Dr. JACALYN, how's the weather where you are? And you start answering me. And then I say, and tell me, have you decided what you're going to do for the weekend? I haven't even listened to your answer about the weather. So I'm mumbling my way through a conversation. I'm nervous. I'm just talking for the sake of it. I'm not pausing. I'm not being present. And so this is a skill set that one needs to learn. And in that journey, when we talk about the importance and the key skills around networking, so it's networking etiquette, networking intelligence, we bring into play what people used to call the elevator pitch. No one's got 30 seconds to connect and engage with you and find out what you do. It's gone. It's a 5, 6, 7 second statement that you need to be looking at, because even that is hard. A lot of people are hard pushed to concentrate or focus for that time. So when you connect with someone and says, Dr. JACALYN, what do you do? Well, I teach people to be much better listeners because it really helps them, blah, 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 blah. No, you kick in there and you say, I give people the tools to make the best deals of their life. What? How do you do that? I give them the gift of listening. Wow. Tell me more. There you've got someone immediately. But if you went on blah, 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 it's the same as someone says, so Philip, I love what you're wearing. You look amazing. What are your industry in? Well, I'm passionate about blah, 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 blah. You'll lose them in 6 seconds flat. So in our coaching programs, we give you the skill set to understand that you are your brand, that you need to learn to understand how to show up like the person you want to meet. We give you the tools on how to power through an amazing networking event, how to follow up with people, body language, presentation skills, not just in how you look as an image and style. Yes, we do that, but in proper presentation. How are you presenting from the front of the room? How are you connecting with your audience? How are you making people feel? And it goes way deeper into that building rapport, because let's face it in life, ladies and gentlemen, one size does not fit all. One size fits one. So the sooner we as human beings understand that one size fits one, and you know how to build a rapport with the individual opposite you or with the group of people you're with, the better you will do in this world. So there's the golden rule in this world: do unto others as we wish them to do unto us, or treat people the way you like to be treated. But then you need to step up to what we call the platinum rule, because the platinum rule is how you elevate yourself to connect with the people that you're trying to connect with on their terms, as in the way they like to be connected with. Then you can go back to being you. So I'm just scratching the surface of some of the things that we focus on.
Thank you. That was very informative. I wanted to share something and have you weigh in on this as well. I'm not sure if you know Kevin O'Leary, but he's known as Mr. Wonderful, Shark Tank. And so he was on the major networks talking about the potential TikTok and what's going on here in the States. It might be banned, and he might purchase it, but he was in his home or an office, and he was in his black jacket with the black tie and typical Mr. Wonderful. And then they showed you on Instagram, he was actually wearing lounging pants, like they had pink and green. He was wearing pink flip-flops. And it was just interesting because he was only dressed from the waist up. So they had a split screen where you saw him on MSNBC or Fox, wherever he was, and then you saw him in his. And so the reason I bring that up is because we're so used to being in that mindset of working from home that, okay, from here up will be formal and from here down just going to be. But doesn't that play on the way our mind's thinking, that we're not totally, I'm not saying him obviously, but if we are in lounge wear, that affects how we're thinking and how we show up?
Without a doubt. Oh, you've summed that up absolutely brilliantly. When you don yourself with clothing, and you feel proud in it, it is mind-blowingly powerful to your mental stability, to your confidence. And Dr. JACALYN, whenever I travel, well, I'm not traveling as much as I was pre-COVID, but whenever I travel and get on, even now when I get on an aircraft, I will always find something of educational value on the screen in front of me. I'm not boring and dull. I will absolutely kick back and enjoy the flight and make the most of it, or need to get some sleep. But on one of those occasions, I was listening to an amazing TED talk by a woman by the name of Mindy Shire. And excuse me going out of screen for a second. I always carry notebooks with me that I can write in, and I make notes. And on this occasion, I actually was so taken by Mindy Shire's TED talk, I wrote down exactly what you're referring to. And she talks about what you wear can affect your mood. Clothing affects your health, well-being, and your mood, and what you wear really matters. And it's called enclosed cognition. And it's the symbolic meaning of clothing and the symbolic feeling of wearing clothing. It's a direct correlation of how you feel about yourself. And there's a woman here who's a professor called Taryn J. Pine. She wrote a book called Mind What You Wear, The Psychology of Fashion. And she states in her book that when you put clothes on, you adapt to the characteristics of what you're wearing. And that's why you feel completely invincible when you put on that beautiful power suit. So if you think about just what you've asked me, there's so much depth behind all of this. And 55% of another person's perception of you is based on how you look. So don't forget, people see you before they hear you, number one. And when you want to, let's say, elevate yourself in the workplace, dress for the job that you really want, not the job you already have. That's number one. And it's known by recruiters that 75% of recruiters believe that how a person dresses, whatever it is, especially for work, affects one's job, it affects the salary and the possible promotion. And your first impressions, with all due respect, you don't often get a chance to make a second good first impression.
I agree with everything you're saying. Now, here's a question when it comes to attire and dressing. And I think I've mentioned in one of our shows over the last couple of years, when I was in corporate, I was called out numerous times because I was dressed too well and making other people feel uncomfortable, which, as we know, you can't make anyone feel anyway. But you like to dress up. I like to dress up. Now, what if you are going somewhere and everyone typically is going to be dressed down? Will you still dress the way you dress? I mean, I know you dress down sometimes as well, but do you let what everyone else is doing when it comes to dress and attire impact what you're doing?
Good question, as always. I think case by case, assess the moment, assess the situation. You don't want to stick out like a sore thumb, firstly. That'll play on your mindset. Secondly, you don't want to so-called come in with that element, well, I'm dressed this way and you're not, and there's an element of arrogance around you. I really do believe that whenever you go to an event, you really need to understand what the dress code is. Now, if someone says it's shorts and flip-flops and a T-shirt, that doesn't mean you necessarily need to go shorts, flip-flops, and T-shirt. You might be more comfortable in a pair of docksiders, boat shoes, a nice golf shirt, and a nice pair of shorts. That would be totally appropriate. You'll definitely stand out for the right reasons because you'll look smarter than anyone in a t-shirt and flip-flops and a pair of shorts. I would always assess each situation, and this is a really interesting question in the sense, many years ago we had an incredible woman from Philadelphia, Beth Coyle, and Beth came through Train the Trainer live here in London, which we're running our first live, by the way, Dr. JACALYN, in June this year. We've got a live Train the Trainer out of London, first one since March, April 2019. So we're hugely excited. And Beth came over to do Train the Trainer, and she explained to us that she was in the pharmaceutical sector, and she was in one particular area of Philly, and she dressed in a certain way, and she had a certain motor car, and she was a representative going into hospitals and doctors and medical practices selling medical equipment. And then she was given a promotion to go to a different part of Philly, and her boss said, actually, Beth, you're going to need to dress down slightly. You're going to need to change your car to something a little bit more understated because you will not connect with your audience. You will not connect with the people that you're going to be doing business with. So again, we need to be chameleons. We need to be adaptable. And by the way, on this front, one thing I would urge everyone to do is get away from designer clothing, because designer clothing, as nice as it is, it's expensive, but as nice, it doesn't mean it's going to fit you nicely. Find clothes that fit you and colors that fit you. I'm a big fan here in the United Kingdom. We've got a lot of charity shops. I have found some gemstones in those charity shops.
Absolutely. I love secondhand stores, we call them vintage. You can find some incredible things. Now, something else I wanted to say to your point about the fit. I noticed even at they had the Academy Awards, women pulling their dress, and if it doesn't fit right and you feel uncomfortable, especially if it's low cuts or if it's short or it's got a slit, the worst thing is to see someone fidgeting around with their clothing because it doesn't feel right, it doesn't fit right, and now we see you're basically telling us, wow, I feel uncomfortable in this. You want to feel empowered in whatever you're wearing, don't you?
Oh, completely, because that's always going to be at the front of your mind. You won't be present in that conversation if all of a sudden you think you're showing a bit too much cleavage or whatever it might be. You're going to feel always shuffling and jittering, and you're not going to be there. So by all means, wear stuff that you feel very sexy or nice or gorgeous in. That's fine. But make sure you are completely comfortable in it, and do a dress rehearsal a few times over before you go to an event. Don't get it made and then put it on the night that you're going to whatever it is, the Oscars, the whatever awards. Walk around in it. Feel, same as shoes. Same as shoes. And no disrespect, I love if it suits the person, high heel shoes, and it looks lovely. But I do know that a lot of women go through an immense amount of pain to look good and that sort of thing. And you see them also, if they're not adept to walking in high heels, that also makes them completely off center in every sense of the word. They look off center, they feel off center, it looks awkward, and it doesn't work. So, everything is preparation.
Absolutely. And something that comes to mind for me, and I haven't worn this in a long time, but hosiery, when I was in corporate, there were certain rules, guidelines in the company handbook that you had to wear stockings or hosiery. But one thing that would really set me off, and I wouldn't know specifically what to do, is if you get a runner. So is there any etiquette if you get a runner? Should you take the stockings off and throw them away, or what do you do?
Always carry a spare pair. Always clean underwear, clean stockings. Just make sure you're well equipped, and without being too crazy, pads, whatever it is you need. Be organized. Carry a toothbrush, toothpaste. Always be prepared. I think that's fundamental in every sense of the word. Things happen, and it's about. I carry a sewing kit because I've often done button and pop. It's gone or whatever. We need to be a little bit more savvy and a bit more organized.
Absolutely. That is such a great point. So for any business owners, by the way, we do have someone who left a comment here. Thank you. A.M. Rogers, the CEO, Smart Children Africa, watching live from Uganda, Africa. Thank you so much for being here. You've been on a few of our other shows as well. So we're happy to have you. Thank you. So for any business owners out there or any people in a position of power and you'd like to bring in the British School of Excellence, what does that engagement look like for etiquette classes?
It's very much bespoke. In other words, we do have set programs, but what's important is getting to understand people's frustrations, their pain points, getting to understand what goals they are working toward, get them to understand what the ethos and the style of the organization is, and then being able to adapt that coaching and training into the vision and focus of that organization. For example, about 6 weeks ago, I was up in Cambridge working with an incredible, dynamic woman who's built a business from scratch and now employs 28 incredible women in hair and beauty and makeup. And I had a full day with them, and I'm going back now to stand and spend some time on the actual shop floor. And in that sort of scenario, it was very much understanding the makeup of the individuals, because at the same time, we've got to understand how do we connect as human beings together, because that's where it starts. If you've got a fly in the ointment, so to speak, within an organization, it definitely, there's a ripple effect, and it does eventually play toward your guests, your clients that walk through the door. So at the end of the day, it is an amazing opportunity for organizations to really think about putting their best foot forward. And the frightening thing is, what we found over the years is people don't want to invest. They're, oh, it's too expensive. Well, I tell you what, the expense is when you lose a potential contract, a deal, or when you lose a key member of staff because they can't tolerate the behavior or the way someone speaks or the way someone acts or however they treat people. And that is where we fall down. And someone once said to me, yeah, what happens if we spend all this money training and coaching and then they all of a sudden leave? Well, the biggest question you should be asking yourself, what happens if you don't coach and train people and they decide to stay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have a team member here, Joseph Stetter, who's in Canada, and he has a show last night, every Thursday night. It's called Resume Whisperer. And we did have a program on etiquette and manners in the job search realm on both sides, the job seeker and the one who has a job. I'd love to bring the two of you together and have a show. That would be fun.
That'd be great fun. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Fantastic. So, what would you like to leave our audience with today when we think about bringing etiquette into the workplace?
Ladies and gentlemen, anyone listening out there who's going to listen again or come and review this program, my guidance and steering to everybody is we're never too old to learn. We're never too old to take on something new. And we're never too old to understand what can take us to the next level. Everything in life is that ability to educate ourselves for the better. And the fact that we're privileged to be able to do so is golden. There are many people out in this world. We just had a lovely message from Uganda who struggle to get the kids to go to school because they don't have the funding, they don't have the finance. So as human beings, one must always understand the importance of gratitude and the importance of what we have rather than what we don't have, and how can we make the most of what is given to us on a daily basis. And if anyone out there is moaning, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I don't feel sorry for you. Put your fingers up, get on with it. No duck is going to fly into your mouth on any level. You've got to take action. There are no free lunches, and everything in life is about commitment. Everything in life is about making sure you show up every single day for yourself, but not only for yourself, for other people, and put your best foot forward.
Absolutely. I meant to ask you about that expression about the duck. What is it, a duck flying in your mouth? Where does that come from?
Well, as you know, I'm a big animal lover, and I do like eating ducks. So I'm sorry to use this analogy, but there's this analogy of standing on top of the hill with your mouth open, waiting for a duck to fly into your mouth. As a male, I've got more chance of becoming pregnant. It's never going to happen, right? And that duck is never going to fly into my mouth. You've got to take your gun, you've got to shoot it out the sky, you've got to take the feathers off, and you put it in the pot, you prepare it for dinner, and you cook it. That's the only way you're ever going to eat a duck. And so that is life. And if you don't put your best foot forward, if you don't make an effort, if you don't change old habits, if you don't nurture yourself, you're going to fall short. And that's it. And the thing is, Dr. JACALYN, if you're born into poverty, that's one of those things. That's tough, okay? But if you die in poverty, that's down to you at the end of the day.
Wow, powerful words. Absolutely. We do have a follow-up comment. Wowoo. Thank you, dear Philip.
No, Uganda, we've as you know, Dr. JACALYN, we've got a big drive to support Push Child Foundation, and anyone out there who wants to understand the importance of what is doing out there, along with his colleagues, it is giving these children this beautiful gift of education and putting at least one meal in their mouths a day. That's it. It's a country that is deprived. It's a country that's rife with AIDS. It's a country where a 4-year-old's all of a sudden raising he or she little sister of 2 years old because both parents have died. It is devastating, and it is this real key pivotal moment that here, through organizations and platforms like USA Global TV and Radio, and like YouTube and Facebook and the social media platforms, we can get people to understand the importance of gratitude and the importance of just making small contributions to help people in this world.
Well, thank you for everything that you do every day to bring value to the world, Philip. You are a true gem.
And I'm privileged. I'm lucky to do what I do. I live for it. I get goosebumps when I share it with you. And it's a calling, and that's wonderful. And sometimes when I'm standing here engaging with you or engaging with students, I don't know, I'm just being used as a channel to get the message, to get that education, to get that inspiration out there, because we have to be the shepherds. We've got to guide and steer people.
You do a phenomenal job. And so does everyone at your organization. As I said before, whenever we have graduates that you bring here to this platform, I'm just overwhelmed for you and for them and for us to be able to have them here and share their story. So as we close out, can you please give people information? How do they get in touch with you, and who would you like to contact you?
Anybody who even have got the slightest thought of wanting to put their best foot forward, learning what can take them to the next level, just look at our website. It's www.thebritishschoolofexcellence.com, and on there we've got various WhatsApp telephone numbers. Please connect and engage with us. If we don't get back to you immediately, we will get back to you very soon. The email address is hello@thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Please do connect with us. We've got a booking system on there. You can book time to connect with one of the team, and we would love the opportunity to take you to the next level.
Thank you, Philip. And of course, right here next to my head is the contact Philip. So all you have to do is go ahead and scan it. It makes it so easy. So thank you to everyone who is watching, who is listening. We're also on the audio platforms as well. And we will be back next week with another topic.
Absolutely.
All right. Absolutely. Thank you, Philip. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Have a wonderful weekend, Dr. JACALYN.
Thank you. You too. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, for listening. Please do go ahead and contact Philip by going and scanning there. Go to his website, which is thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. If you'd like to be a guest on this or any of our other shows, please go to our website, which is usaglobaltv.com. Go to the book your session and then scroll down and find the show that you'd like to be on and go ahead and register. There are some basic questions that we ask, and we'd like to have you send in your bio so that we can have more information about you. And do connect with us on social media, USA Global TV and Radio. Also connect with the British School of Excellence, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all of those places. All right. Thank you again for being here. We're going to close out now at the end of our show, and we really do appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV and Radio on YouTube. And also, if you have Roku or Amazon Fire, you can find our app, which is, guess what it is? It's USA Global TV and Radio. Thanks again. We're signing off now.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I find really I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best, this is the best school ever.
You should take it. It will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, BSc.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.